Hey guys, we're back here with the final matchup in the IanTCG Road to Nationals. Actually, maybe a surprise to some. Which heroes are in this matchup? On the left, you can see Dorinthea, and on the right, it's actually not Chain. It's actually well, you see it in a second. But first, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Hayden here. I'm one half of the Arsenal Pass podcast and YouTube channel. Go check us out if you want to see gameplay and deck techs and the like. And yeah, excited to see this final. So we've got Dorinthea and what's Jimmy. Jimmy's keeping a secret. I'm not sure what's on the other side of the table here yet.
I only said it's not Chain, which may be a
I,
surprise to some, honestly. I, I think Chain's been doing pretty. Oh, I think it was spoiled there. But he's been pretty hot, but not in this tournament.
I like these
Actually,
sleeves from the Dorinthea player.
yeah, they're nice, right?
Cool.
I should actually ask him where he got those.
Well,
But it's
the, the,
actually
the playmat
Boltyn.
might have been a bit of a giveaway, right? We've got Boltyn here.
Yeah, actually, that's not his playmat. That's just a playmat we put there. It's actually a coincidence. But yeah, it's Boltyn, and then you have two ways you can go with Boltyn. But I see that's also spoiled here because you can see a Centauri Saber in his hand.
Yeah, interesting.
I believe they're still trying to figure out, or he's trying to figure out what equipment he wants to play exactly. But looks to be the standard suite.
Mm. So Jimmy, you just said about chain. How many chain were in the top 8 of this Road to Nationals event?
I believe it was one. Yeah, I believe it was one. Uh,
Warriors getting
I
the
can
job done here.
I can spoil that since this is the finals. So the
Finals.
chain went top four. I was the chain.
Oh, there we go. Good job. Congratulations on
actually,
grabbing
actually,
your
yeah,
invite.
yeah. I have my nationals invite now, which is pretty cool. I actually died to this Saber Bolt in the top four.
Yeah. So Saber Boltyn, interesting matchup into Dorinthea. I mean, I'm guessing this is an OTK sort of style build of Boltyn, which could give Dorinthea a good race. One of the tough things to do is race Dorinthea, but when you have a massive, OTK turn capability, that could be the way to do it. So, and a good, a pretty reasonable start there. Charging two cards. Charging one card or two cards, is it? Just one.
I believe it's just
Arsenal
one.
the other card.
Actually, I believe there's a. Let me turn off myself for a second here. It's just one. It's just Enlightened Strike.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you said, it's like it's the combo OTK. I'll hit you with sabers for many times, either 6 or 8, depending on how I feel that day. But you might see some interesting cards in this deck that help that plan. Maybe you can maybe you already know, but you'll see. Um,
Excited to see, yeah.
I believe they'll put a life counter up for us in a second. Uh,
So the Steel Blade Supremacy turn from the Dorinthea plan is a pretty good start. I think if you're playing into an OTK deck and you know that their whole plan is to like get to a point in the game where they get that like double Lumina setup, you just want to put as much pressure on as possible. And Steel Blade Supremacy is a pretty good way to do that. Force cards out of their hand, not let them build up soul.
right.
Early equipment block here as well. So if you're sitting on the Dorinthea side, that's definitely what you want to be seeing. So blocking 4 into 5, you'd expect that, if you're on the Dorinthea side, probably expecting a defense reaction to come out here. So it kind of gives you a bit of a consideration. Do you just let this go by? Arsenal card. Yeah.
As you said, they come out. So he opts. So we're just trying to opt away. Try to find our double Lumina, which is pretty. I would say it's kind of the minimum you want to go off with if you're playing the
Yeah.
saber list.
Yeah, you want the double, whether it comes through Beacon or through Lumina, both Luminas. Interesting. I think this is a pretty good turn cycle for the Boltyn player. Getting rid of a Steel Blade Supremacy, which is a real power card out of Dorinthea for the cost of a piece of equipment, and then being able to come back and charge a card. Like now you're at two charge cards, 2 cards in the soul. That's pretty important. And then you also buy a Refraction Bolters, which is quite nice.
Hmm? See a hit and run here. Just giving the
Yeah.
go again, because it's the first swing of the turn. Just
This
to
is a
go again,
5-card
see for
hand.
3. Yeah, it is a
Yeah.
5-card hand.
I think that's
if
the
you
way you've got to play this matchup. Like any matchup where Dorinthea is playing into a deck that wants to get to a certain point in the game, you need to put pressure on. You just want to be, just chucking those 5-card hands at them. So I like this play. I like that sort of just, it feels a bit aggressive using the refraction bolters that early, but you deny them a card from soul, and then you get to, keep that 5-card hand.
What's kind of nice about this matchup for Dorinthea is that she's playing a lot of actions, barely any attack actions, if any. So actually, Sir Boltyn's ability is a bit negated in this matchup. Well, at least the +1 part.
Yeah, definitely.
So it does play Stroke of Foresight. So we'll go up to 6.
Yep, getting that reprise effect, and also has go again. So we might see defense reaction come out from the Boltyn side. It looks like they're playing a few, which I think you need to be doing. I think in general, like Dorinthea is probably favored on the face of it here in this matchup. They just have so much ability to push through damage. They have, like you said before, like all these non-attack actions which block effectively. Yeah, so gets the damage through, has the go again from the hit and run, then comes back in for 4, which is solid place, threatening that counter.
Yeah. So if he wants to prevent the counter, it has to be like a defense reaction, or it has to be an equipment and a card, which would be a bit of an overblock, but probably don't want to give Dorinthea the counter here. Although you're still afraid of what's in Arsenal. There's still something left.
2 resources up, right? Like I guess route is a consideration, because one of the things you could do here is just throw the 3 cards at the table. Because it's coming in for 4, you block for 9, but route still gets you. You block for 6 though. Any attack reaction gets you and gets them the counter, which is like the 7 is a really nice breakpoint. So bit of a decision for the Boltyn player. I don't think you want to be taking this damage early and letting them get the counter on those. So I would. To be honest, I would probably just throw the cards here, and then if they have the route, they have the route. At least they don't have a card in Arsenal. You see the block for 5. Calls the bluff from the Dorinthea player there.
A nice move there. Worked out for him.
Yeah, worked out really well. Much better than my play, actually, considering the fact they had no attack reaction in Arsenal.
Yeah, so after seeing that, you have to think it's like an overpower, or it's a defense reaction, right? Or maybe it's an action?
Yeah, it could be a non-attack action. Could be like a Warrior's Valor or something like that, potentially.
You can probably exclude any attack reactions from the list after that. Probably. I have to say probably.
Maybe Glint, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it could be Glint.
Ooh, this looks like the dreaded quad red hand though from the Dorinthea player. They've got Red Warrior's Valor into Dawnblade.
That's a bit rough. Ooh, blocks for 9. Might just say you've got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Dorinthea player though, I think you're pretty happy about that. You have a pretty bad hand, and you get to buy a Soul Shield plus a card from hand. Not gonna be too upset about that.
Taking 3 cards from your opponent on one of your off turns, probably.
Yeah, and they just have to. Boltyn just draws up and says go again. So this card's been sitting in the arsenal for 3 turns now for our Boltyn player. So this is where you start to think, if you're Dorinthea, okay, they've already got one piece of the combo set up. It's probably the first Lumina or a beacon maybe. I know some players don't like to arsenal the beacon; they'll wait until a Lumina comes up. But in matchups where Dorinthea matchup where they can put a lot of pressure on, sometimes you don't have the option.
Oh, has to pitch another red for a swing.
That's tough.
Oh wait, he had a blue though. It was just a trick. A little bit of mind game there.
I think they just wanted to get rid of the route potentially. It's interesting, which would say to me they don't have to go again here, I would think.
Yeah. Has to be Clint, but you're not hitting at this point because he's blocking 7. Yeah, has to say go again.
Yep. Yeah, just wants to get rid of that route because there's a play there, right? Like if they don't pitch the route, they pitch the blue first, and then their opponent just doesn't block. You're really hard pressed to get cards out of your hand there. Oh, Whisper of the Oracle.
This is what I was talking about. So
That was the card in Arsenal. Okay, interesting.
I was actually playing Whisper to kind of dig towards his combo faster. And there's another one, actually.
Double Whisper. It's interesting to play the double Whisper here when you've just opted though and you've kept a card on top. It's kind of a little bit synergistic, but they have a card in hand, so they kind of don't really have much of a choice.
Maybe he had no charger here. Maybe it
Yeah,
is
I would
already
say
a
so.
combo piece that was left on top, and he's just looking for the second one. Because he had actually built up a decent amount of soul already.
Yeah. 4 cards and pretty healthy life total as well, 37. It's kind of a if you're the Dorinthea player, like you're a little bit I think you actually breathe a sigh of relief that you just saw Whisper and that they don't already have a combo piece in Arsenal because you've only got them on 37. Although you have seen a lot of defense reactions, so you can feel reasonable about that.
Can't quite see what that is, but I would assume
As the spoils of war,
Valor.
so coming in for
The
5,
spoil.
yeah.
Just to go again, yeah.
5 with go again.
So, what does Boltyn have here?
Yeah,
I
so
see an
Bolton really just
engulfing light. I think I saw a bolt.
yeah, I mean the Bolton player's probably feeling pretty good about their soul. They might want one more card, which would help with Beacon on their turn they want to go off.
Yeah.
But they also the fact that Dorinthea's on 36 is like a little bit scary. You want them like sort of around 30 to be pushing that big turn. Because Dorinthea can actually sort of, if they get Bolton to low enough, they can actually stabilize after the big turn. Oh wow, another defense reaction.
That was a soul shield in Arsenal. He's
So
basically
blocking
full
for 8.
committing and saying, I'm gonna stay healthy, I'm gonna build up my soul, and at some point I'm gonna get my huge combo on you. Does this go
Yeah.
over? Oh, he routes, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Routes the
Tunic
soul
plus.
shield. So now we're at 6-8, right? With the spoils.
Yeah, I think you just
So you
take
could
it. They don't have
replay it.
any resources to. Well, they don't have any resources to come back in with, right?
Hmm.
That's their 4 cards gone. So I think you just probably just take it. You charge something, get the Soul Shield into Arsenal again. Not actually the worst. I really
Yeah.
want to know what that card in Arsenal is for the Dorinthea player.
Yeah, it's been there for quite a while now.
Could be Iron Song Determination. Could be waiting for the Bolton player to not have an Arsenal, or for them to kind of be fairly confident they don't have a defense reaction, and then set up the once they draw the Steel Blade Supremacy, set up the big Iron Song Supremacy turn.
Yeah, I really wonder what it is.
Yeah,
At this
here's my
point,
Bolton.
at this point, I really put it on a defense reaction actually, but putting a defense reaction that early can be a bit awkward sometimes because you can't arsenal new cards until you play it.
Yeah, I like this play from Bolton, by the way. I think this is a good line to be on. I think if it's a defense reaction, they would have just played it on the Express Lightning turn, though,
Mhm.
just to get it out of the way, because they could have actually had an Arsenal card that turn
Okay.
if they'd done that.
So what are we
Oh,
putting it on
nice.
then? Maybe Command and Conquer?
Possibly Command and Conquer, like waiting for that sort of go off turn, could be the key. You could, you come in with Blade, your opponent doesn't block it, your Refraction Bolters come with a CNC to spoil the turn. That could be pretty important.
Funny thing is, I have seen this match, but I still don't know what's in this Arsenal. I've seen the latter half of this match.
Yeah, that's good game so far. I think both players are well. The Bolton player is
Oh,
probably, I guess, advantaged. Okay, it was a defense reaction.
it had to be something between this and an attack action, or
Yeah,
glint, like you said, something that doesn't pump, because he would have pumped in the one turn where he could have gotten a counter.
yeah.
Uh,
So I think probably what they were thinking was get this defense reaction in Arsenal. Maybe thinking that they were going to try and go for a Lumina turn a bit earlier, and then just it's kind of got trapped in there. So they take this opportunity to just get it out. I think,
mhm.
which is a good play there. But Bolton's sitting pretty here with the defense reaction, the Soul Shield, and Arsenal now, which is pretty good spot to be in. At least that's what we assume. We did see the inline strike put a card on the bottom, so it could have, in theory, have been the defense reaction, but I think probably unlikely.
So just an open swing for 3 here. Do you just take 3 here? To avoid Reprise?
Yeah, I think you don't want to turn on like Glint's the one you worry about here, so
Yeah.
I don't think you want to turn it on. I think you just take it, and if they then throw, say like a +3 at it, then you can just play the Soul Shield,
Hmm.
and then even if they have the Glint, like they draw into you know nothing basically.
Yeah. Then you really
So
have to
yeah,
pay a card to give it go again, as opposed to with reprise you draw a new one, kind of replaces itself.
yeah. And
So
I like the fact that if you have the Boltyn player here, depending on your hand, like you actually want to try, like I said before, you want to try and get this Dorinthea player down below 30.
mhm.
So taking damage and just coming back with an attack is pretty good as long as your hand helps you do it. But oh, there we go. We see refraction bolters into
Okay,
the command and
so
conquer.
now was the command. That's probably a bit. That was a bit unexpected. He was floating too. He could have given go again, but now there's a new worry. Because if there is a combo piece in there, you have to defend.
I think
Um,
if you're the Dorinthea player, you're pretty confident it's probably that Soul Shield. So I think this is a pretty reasonable play considering you probably think it's a Soul Shield. The
mhm.
one thing that maybe will hurt you in the future is the fact you now don't have your refraction bolters, and you might have needed to make this exact play like we talked about earlier on that like the combo turn to prevent the combo turn.
6-3.
Yeah, just gonna lose the arsenal.
Well,
Ah, it was a beacon, it wasn't the Soul Shield, so presumably the Soul Shield's on the bottom of the deck.
uh, probably wanted to defend that. Maybe he couldn't.
Yeah, it looks like there's a Fafa scene and a
I see a
shunt. So it looks like
shunt.
maybe, yeah, might have not been
Uh,
able to defend it.
yeah. Oh, I think this might be that awkward triple defense reaction hand.
Yeah. Looks like the Soul
Oh,
Shield's in hand. Okay, so they might have E-Strike the other card, kept the Soul Shield.
it's rough. You definitely want that beacon. Because the beacon can search the Lumina Ascension that you're looking for. So you only
Yeah,
need to find one more and then you have a double. And the way he's playing towards double or even more triple. But
or triple. Yeah, definitely correct though. I think you obviously want to be
yeah,
getting that beacon there. The problem is, unfortunately, they just got punished by the Command and Conquer for the
wow,
triple defense reaction, and this could happen again.
wow. So he only pitched one defense reaction for the Saber swing. So he arsenaled one, and then he
Yep,
was
has the other
holding
one in
one.
hand. Mhm.
So we know at least two of these cards can't defend this. Okay, so this time he can defend the command. But this time he only protects the defense reaction. Would have really
Yeah.
liked to have this to protect the beacon earlier. But so he's pitching a shunt to the bottom. So that means Soul Shield is in hand? Sorry, in Arsenal?
Yeah, I think most likely. Yeah, it's the Soul Shield. Not sure what the other card is left. So it could very well be another defense reaction. To be honest, there's a lot of defense reactions in this deck.
Yeah, I think the way this Boltyn list was set up, it's just I'm gonna defend, I'm gonna opt for my combo, and then at some point I'm gonna get you with a huge turn.
Mm.
And then I'm gonna swing the game in my favor after that. But until then, you can try to do something.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
but
Yellow Warriors Vela coming in for 5 here, threatening to go again. I think this is another opportunity for a 5-card hand to come in, but pitching the glint, so presumably one glint on the bottom, very likely not another one in hand. That's kind of really okay with that. We've seen one route so far. We've seen 2 Command and Conquer. I've only seen 1 Sealwed Supremacy, so some power cards, but not all the power cards.
would you consider shielding here, or would you always shield the second attack if you should?
It depends. I think because you now need to be preserving life, you're probably just trying to prevent the first attack, especially if you have 2 defense reactions.
I think I know what happened here. Actually, yeah.
Okay.
So we
So
saw a
blocked
red.
within pass priority.
He was trying to pitch a red there, but he didn't in the end. Did block with another red, so there's 2 reds. And we think they're Soul Shield. Well, it's probably Soul Shield in Arsenal. Now this is swing for 4.
Yeah, so interesting to block the first one just to prevent some damage. Might have had a player might have bringing the defense reaction out.
Oh, stroke overpower.
Blue overpower, so +4.
So going up to 8 against 4. 6 to 4
This
gives his
isn't
first counter.
Yeah, did we miss see a soul shield? Maybe it wasn't a soul shield.
Um, I can tell you. I can tell you this now because he told me afterwards. So you saw the Enlightened Strike block there, right?
Yeah.
And then he tried to pitch a red. It's because he thought there was a Steel Blade Shunt in his arsenal,
Okay. Yeah.
but it was actually a
But he
Soul
pitched
Shield.
that one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So what he was trying to do was pitch one for the Shunt and go up to 9, but then he realized it wasn't actually Shunt, but he already defended, so you can't take that back. So you see here, it is the Soul Shield. I think his hand was like triple red there, so he could have
Okay.
pitched 2 for the Soul Shield if he really, really wanted to. But
would have just got blown out by a route though, or actually, in fact, even that overpower would have taken them to 9 versus 9. So actually, that would have been okay.
yeah, but he definitely thought there was a Shunt. You even saw the 1 red pitch there, so that's a bit unfortunate there.
Yep. So it gets over for some damage there. It's to come back in. This counter's staying this turn and threatening a second counter. Yeah, if you're the Dorinthea, this is basically where the Dorinthia player wanted to be. Wanted to get the tempo, and that first counter is how you start to build that tempo. And so many defense reactions have gone through now. Some are at the bottom of the deck from pitching, a lot are just in the grave. And now 17 life to play with as like a combo player. You really want like a 20 life buffer so that you can be setting up your combo cards in Arsenal and then not being worried about your opponent having a big turn. Because if they have a big turn and you're on enough life, you just don't care about it. But now any big turns, and especially with these counters adding up, is just super threatening to the Boltyn player.
Yeah.
Certainly not over though. If the Boltyn player can start from this turn, be 2 turns away from the combo, they've got the Dorinthia player to the life total. They probably need them about 30 is important.
Yeah. So a bit of the awkward thing here is that he played Soul Shield here instead of the turn before, and he blocked his Arsenal extra turn. So now we still don't know if he has a combo piece. And if he does have a combo piece, he has to like wait a turn and Arsenal it in his turn. So he's just giving Dorinthia time here, which is starting to run out maybe a little bit.
I think they do have the combo piece. If you didn't, you would have just blocked with it on the prior turn. You would have just thrown it to block, no matter what. So I think you can. And if you're the Dorinthia player, I think you're safely assuming that they've now got a combo piece in hand. It's time to just put as much pressure on as possible. Still 1 Command and Conquer left in the deck for our Dorinthia player as well. Yeah, second counter. Oof, that's huge, especially with no equipment left for our Boltyn player to block with.
So this gap is big, but when you're playing the Saber build, this gap is not as big as you think. If you were able to do double Lumen on this turn, then this gap would like shrink, or you would even get a lead after this turn.
Yeah, harder 4 cards though.
Yeah, it's harder 4 cards. You usually want to do that off the Arsenal combo piece. So this is a bit. It's just a swing for 2. I don't think he cares. Yeah.
So it's probably a combo piece. Yeah, Lumina or a Beacon going in there. And I think actually just has the other one in hand, to be honest. The way that they've blocked and played this last turn out, it feels like there's another one in hand. So if you're the Dorinthia player here, you just go, I need to present lethal here. If I can,
this is pretty big.
It's going for 11.
This is definitely where you have to put your foot down and say, I'm gonna spend all my cards. Make sure you can't kill me in your next turn.
Yeah. So threatening 11 plus 5 with the second attack, and that's before you even start to factor any, and like an Iron Song response would be like, such a key card here if they do have that.
Yeah. 11 is huge. And you can't openly take this 11 because you die. You're dead to any attack reaction unless you have a defense reaction, of course. But either way, he has to defend with something. Or if he has a defense reaction, he can say node blocks and then wait for the attack reaction. But he's still gonna take a lot of damage, basically.
I think there's basically 2 decisions here, which is if you can put your opponent on having basically nothing, and you have a defense reaction to block out the second attack, and you can still combo, then that's a play. but that's going to be very difficult to. What more likely, I think, is the play here is you have to throw your whole hand at this and hope they don't have the attack reaction, and then hope they draw a dead hand on the next turn, and then you draw your hand that you need to combo. I think that's actually, to be honest, the place that now this Boltyn player is in, just with their low life total, which is a
Right.
difficult spot to be in. But I think if you just look to go to like 1, for instance, or go to 2 life if you block with a few cards, you're not
That's
going to be
super
on your
risky.
turn presenting relevant damage. The Dorinthea player is just going to take it and then come back at you again with another 4 or 5 card hand, and the game's basically over at that point.
Yeah. I think you do often say people say that life is a resource, but plays do really change depending on what life totals you're on. Because let's say he was holding full combo here, he had everything ready to go, he's at 22, he might opt to take everything and then combo off, but he's not. So, like you said, here's the full block, and it's
That's
a
the double
painful one.
limiter as
It's a
well.
painful one. This is a painful one.
Yeah,
Because
unfortunately, it just means that that's probably going to prevent them from being able to win the game with unless they have Remembrance in the deck, it's going to be very difficult to like combo. It's just going to have to be a traditional warrior game here, which is not what the deck's built for.
yeah, so you're right on the call. He blocked everything. Dorinthea didn't even have an attack reaction to hold their counters on the Dawnblade, so he lost all the counters.
Yeah, but you
Had
got
that,
double Lumina for it.
yeah, you definitely say super happy to see that. Super happy to see that, of course. But if he didn't have to block with a double Lumina hand there, let's say it was just 4 attack actions, then Boltyn was probably kind of happy with Dawnblade losing all the counters. But because of the fact that it was 2 Luminas there's only a maximum of 1 in the deck. And like you said, he can't get them back unless he plays Remembrance.
Yeah, so it does look like it looks pretty dire for the Bolton player, but there is like a way back into this game, I think, and it's basically to just outvalue your Dorinthea opponents. So block them out with 2 cards or 3 cards, come in with an attack, just leak damage through. Hopefully, the Dorinthea player tries to use their life total as a resource to just keep putting pressure on you, and you can actually soak up that pressure and put through damage. And then you get to a point where they're probably around 20 life, where you just have to play a single Lumina turn. Plus, maybe you have like something like Beacon with a big soul to push through damage. And that's the kind of game I think you have to play for now.
It does have a
You
lot of
know,
soul.
yeah, right. You have a lot of soul, and you have defense reactions coming back through in the deck because you're about to cycle through your deck probably in about 2 turns, 2 or 3 turns. So they haven't shuffled. So that's like a pretty big consideration. I think if you're the Bolton player, is you do know what's in your deck, and you do know that you can play to that kind of game plan. I think it actually might be like more like 4 turns, but there was a Whisper of the Oracle, 2 Whispers. So yeah.
How risky do you think no block is here?
Um,
I would maybe say no block because it was a red pitch and it's an open Dawnblade with no bolters, but I don't know what you think. Maybe you think something else.
I think it depends on what's in the Bolton player's hand. So if the Bolton player can use their 5 cards to come back aggressively, or 4 cards plus keep a defense reaction, I'm just happy to just not block this at all.
Okay, so we see Out for Blood going to 6, but no reprise. Did pitch
just
2
for
reds,
6.
and Arsenal's the last one.
Yeah, that's kind of worst case scenario. Like you take 6, and then they get an Arsenal. Now you're down to 6. Like you need this hand to be coming in for like minimum 12 to 15 damage, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to threaten something, and even then
15 even.
the Dorinthea can just say, "I'll take everything you've got. I'll keep pushing you."
Yeah, so in one way though, this is kind of the perfect, I guess, way back into the game for the Bolton player is if they can present like 15 damage, and as the Dorinthea player, they go, I take it, and then they come back with a 5-card hand, and you have a way to deal with that 5-card hand, say with maybe like a defense reaction from Arsenal, plus maybe a defense reaction from hand, then you can kind of deal with that. Then you're back on, they're maybe 13, 15 life, you're on 6, but you've been able to block out the turn. You're starting to, I guess, even it up a little bit at that point.
So Bolton thinking about what he wants to do here. He kept everything, so he has a 5-card hand to play with.
Yeah. Presumably no defense reaction, because we probably would have seen the defense reaction come out after that Out for Blood.
Yeah. It's either like a fully blockade, or if it's a sync or a fate, you just take 4 off of it. You only take
Yeah, I
2,
think
but
there's a couple of sinks left, but we've seen all the soul shields. I think we've seen all the steel blades between pitch and actually we saw yellow steel blade. Sorry, red steel blade. Sink we haven't seen as much of. Fate we've seen too.
I think there's still at
Okay,
least 1 shot left, maybe 2.
this is a good start.
Pitch red. Oh,
Yeah,
so
it
charge
might be the
1.
only non-light card. Looks like all 3 cards are red.
That's a bit
Maybe.
unfortunate. Because you have the soul to play with here, so if it were a blue, you could just feed Centauri if you had to.
This might be a yellow. So this could be a yellow here.
So this coming in
Yellow
for
or red.
4.
Yeah, unfortunately, you see the downside of these whispers, right? Is it's a non-light card, which
Mhm.
can hurt the game plan overall. Really good for getting you to your combo though.
Place the
Beacon.
beacon. So might go into his Centauri. Into his Lumina turn here, just to pressure him back, and maybe gain some life.
Yeah,
Although,
it's tough though if you don't have the resources to.
yeah, you want to pop the
I mean, to
gallantry
crack the
gold.
gallantry. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So would have really liked this whisper to at least be a yellow to float 1, so he could pop the gallantry gold for 1 and give his weapon attacks +1 this turn.
Yeah.
But
The beacon is X or less, right?
uh, you have to you can search X or less. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's an argument if you have the Valiantry, the Valiance, you just go and get a red Valiance Rust.
Okay. But you still need to pitch for it if that's the case.
Yeah, I think there's a minimum a red in hand though, right?
Yeah. I wonder what. So he could either decide to Lumina now, but then he has to pitch his last card for the Gallantry Gold probably, or he could do like you said. He could do a take flight. So what does this mean?
So it could be a 0 attack in hand. You play the 0 attack off of, like, you give go again, play the 0 attack, and then your arsenal will take flight.
It could be a yellow and
Potentially.
you play take flight and you Gallantry Gold, right? And then you swing with your sabers. It could be, but
Yeah, potentially. But if that's the case, you probably would
I
have gone
feel
and got
like
something
you would
that's
have.
not a take flight.
I feel like you would have pitched a yellow in the first place then. Maybe. I'm not sure. So either way, he's taking the 6.
Oh, that's the
Oh.
difficulty. The Lumina was the last card. So
Uh,
it's really unlucky.
it's really not working out here, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you just
Oof.
take this if you're Dorinthea. You've got a 5-card hand, and your opponent, you know your opponent's not going to have a defense reaction from Arsenal. It's pretty ideal.
This turn would have looked very, very different had this Whisper been a yellow or blue.
Yep. Yeah, this turn could have been. So if that was a yellow or blue, this turn could have been massive. With the beacon as well.
Yeah, because then he would have gone off. Well,
Yeah,
not off, but at least 4 swings. 4 swings for 4 is nothing to scoff at after the charge
yeah. Especially if the
cards.
beacon goes and finds something like Celestial Cataclysm for
Mm-hmm.
another 7 damage to come in as well. Like,
Yeah.
then you're really threatening. You know.
So that's
Yeah, I mean, you're
really
threatening
unfortunate.
what 16.
Swing
Yeah,
6.
threatening 28 damage.
Full card, almost full block stat.
Yep. So this is. I can't see what's the other card next to the Dawnblade. Is it a Valor?
I think it was
Or
a
just
sharpened
Loyals?
steel.
Sharp Steel. This is for 6. So overblocking by 3.
It doesn't have go
Yeah, I
again
think
as of
that's.
now. So maybe just Arsenal this and pass? Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully this is a defense reaction. If it's not a defense reaction, the other play that Boltyn could have considered there was just blocking for 6 and just not playing around anything. At this point, it's really hard to play around stuff when you're behind.
Mm-hmm. He didn't manage to claw it back a little bit. Dorinthea had a bit of awkward hands as well, lacking go again in some of them. Some of them even having to pitch these reds.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking. I don't think we've seen Celestial Cataclysm. I think that makes sense. Otherwise, I think you would have gone and got Celestial Cataclysm off of the beacon last turn. Would have just been more damage.
Yeah, he did pitch one for the Soul Shield, or was it a Soul Shield? He
We
pitched
did.
one earlier,
Okay.
so he has one at least.
Maybe looking for that late game. The problem with the beacon as well is it actually shuffled the deck, which is actually not ideal. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially since
The
the
defense
shuffle happened
reaction.
before you pitched the Lumina, or before the Lumina goes back into deck. So
Mm.
now your deck is shuffled, but the Lumina's on bottom. That's what you know.
Yeah. I think there's one beacon left though, which is kind of going to be key.
Ooh,
Ooh.
close to 9.
Yeah. Pushes for 3.
Takes 1 in return from the shunt. We see a lot of red pitch hands coming out for Dorinthea here, which is good for Boltyn. Oh, looks like it was a
Yeah.
bolt.
The other thing as well is they're cycling back through, so there is going to be a lot more red hands as well because they have pitched back-to-back reds on a couple of turns.
He's giving it go again. Probably swing with a saber next, or oh, he didn't give it go again.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's a draw from Bolt. It's a draw from
Yeah.
Bolt.
Yeah.
Now they can do something.
Yeah. So they give it go again, then draw a card. I mean, actually, the ideal draw here for you is like a defense reaction. You just want to get like a, one of the last shunts or the last sink into Arsenal here, and because you've got through your damage for the turn, all you want to do, as I said before, is like leak damage and then be defensive, leak damage, be defensive, and then 3 life is really hard, and you can't really create a pivot turn on 3 life. So basically, the way you need to win is just like continue leaking damage for the rest of the game, basically, and maybe win off something like a courageous or a beacon.
Mm-hmm. Yellow Valor. Dawnblade for 5. This time he does have a blue, so and this is scary because you're on 3. And you're playing against a warrior. So warrior with 2 cards in hand even, I think. I think this is the full 5 card turn. The only equipment blocked. So it could represent anything almost.
Yeah, mostly. I mean, at this point, you know a lot of what the Dorinthea players played. The one that you're really worried about is Singing Steelblade because you haven't seen a Singing Steelblade be played yet. I think we saw one pitched early on, and that's it. So
yeah, I think you're right. There hasn't been any Singing Steelblade played in this game, which can
you might be at the point
fetch you anything almost.
Yeah, you might be at the point you just can't play around it though.
Yeah. Down to 3. Maybe he did Arsenal the defense reaction here, but well, at least if it is a defense reaction in Arsenal, he can play around with price if there is a Singing Steelblade, but it's still a bit tough.
It's pretty hard to play around Reprise here though because you'd have to block with your chest equipment plus the sink, for instance, to block 5 from the Valor. And then if they just have an attack, like a pump for 3, you're just dead, right? So I don't even think you can play around Reprise here, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
If you have the defense reaction, I think you just have to throw 2 cards here and then throw the sink when they pump it and then hope it's nothing, like a singing or the last route.
I was thinking maybe he just shunts from Arsenal here, but if he has it. But this is a block for 5, goes up to 8. So this presents lethal still.
Yeah, there's the fate.
So, and there it is.
Yeah, and go and get the Iron Song, come over for 4, so would need the other defense reaction to stop this.
Yeah, so he's defending 9 at the moment.
Yeah.
He's getting hit for 9 plus whatever this is. Route?
Yeah, he's going to get the route. Okay, so he's got the resources for route. So you route the Cataclysm, and then there's no way out, unfortunately. I think we've seen all the red shunts now.
I think there's one somewhere.
There's one left. Okay, that's the one they need then.
So shunts. He routes back to Celestial.
It's
so now there's only 6. Yeah.
So you need it to be a shunt here. Yeah, 12 plays 6 here on the attack.
So if he plays a Fate or a Sync, he lives.
Yeah, there we go, shunt. Perfect. That'll do.
Covers up, takes one. Does he even take one?
Takes none.
Takes
No, it was
none.
12. Yeah.
Dorinthea doesn't have any resources left, so still alive.
Still alive. Would have been nice if that card in Arsenal was maybe an attack to just come in and push some damage as well.
Mm-hmm.
The tough one now is that you're at a point where every Dawnblade is lethal, right? So you have to block
Yeah.
every single Dawnblade. So Reprise is just always going to be on, unfortunately.
Yeah. If you were if this happened at an earlier point in this game, let's say like totals were like 20-20, you'd probably think, okay, 3, sure, I'll take 3. You want a glint, it's gonna cost you a card. The attack reaction, also fine, I guess. But he's at 3, so he's playing Dorinthea. Dorinthea can always do +3, +6.
Yeah.
So this is rough.
Yeah, the spot you generally want to be in when you're playing into Dorinthea is you want to have life total to play with. It just cuts down your opponent's options because it gives you more options about what you can do. So, if say they only had Reprise cards in hand here and they come with Dawnblade for 3, you could be potentially trapping 3 cards in their hand, which is like perfect. But when there's no life total to play with, unfortunately, it opens up all Dorinthea's options. I think they've probably just got to throw 2 cards here and just hope that they can't get over 6. And then you get to come back on a turn. Hopefully that's enough to take some life and get you through the next turn cycle. You're just playing turn cycle to turn cycle here, basically.
Yeah. Really gotta hope they don't have to go again, or they can't hit. So
Yeah,
let's
and
say
then your
he
win
blocks
condition becomes
6.
courageous.
Yeah, courageous. He did see some of the Celestial Cataclysms that could have pressured some damage, but I always had to pitch them or defend them. So this is 5 or 6.
It's overpower, isn't it? Yeah, it's gonna be
That's
lethal. Yeah. Oof.
So there was a glint there, even. Okay. So yeah, I think this was a bit. I think this was well played by Dorinthea, but Boltyn struggled a bit.
Very close game. I mean, in essence, it looked like that turn with the soul shield, the kind of mistake trying to pitch, thinking it was a shunt, was looking like it was just going to be sort of game over from there. But the Bolton player played to their outs, right? Like they played to that kind of line I was talking about of defending up, trying to use their life total less as a resource, just trying to block out and try and leak damage. And then they finally found the turn they needed to push a bit of damage, but unfortunately they had the Lumina on the turn that Dorinthea finally had their off turn. They had the Lumina in hand and no red cards, so they just couldn't do the damage they needed. If they'd been able to do that and gain back a little bit of life with the Lumina, they might have actually been able to find themselves in a position to be able to claw that game back. But yeah, just a little bit unlucky on that one.
Yeah, it's really unlucky they got caught on the I want to block 12 here, and so you can't do anything else, but 2 of my 12 or 6 of my 12 is 2 Luminas. That's a bit unfortunate.
Yep, and having to throw that 12 card hand, the full card hand at the Dorinthea's lethal turn with the 2 Luminas in hand, like it was just a turn too late. Unfortunately, I think it probably does go back to that Soul Shield turn where that was kind of the turning point. If they'd been able to play that Soul Shield out and play it more efficiently, they would have been able to get through that turn with enough life to then set up their combo, take all the damage that Dorinthea threw back at them, and then come in with their big turn. You saw them get them to Dorinthea to 9 with playing no Lumina and a Lumina combo deck, so it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think if you did play the shunt or Arsenal the shunt first, then play the shunt out, and then put a combo piece into Arsenal 1 turn earlier, they probably have a good chance in this game. They probably either take this game or have a really good chance in this game. But
yeah, I think so.
It really matters what you put in Arsenal. Sometimes it gets awkward, gets stuck. So yeah, that's it for this game. So funny thing is we did crown you can see hiding on the left there, you can see the full art tunic.
Oh, I can too.
I'm just gonna move you for a second here, so you can see the tunic there. Funny thing is, we did crown a Dutch winner here, which you may think is natural, but the Boltyn player was actually a German player, Christian Weisling. You may have heard of him. He's the first to get 1k XP in Germany. So it was looking like it could have been a German champion on Dutch grounds here, but it didn't end up that way. We held our grounds.
To keep a bit of national pride there. That's good. It's good. Always good to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanna let out about this game?
Okay. Thanks for having me. Great top 8 in total. Some really good games there. And a good final. Interesting to see. An all warrior final. No chain in the final. No Bravo. No Katsu. It's all warrior. So yeah, really good match. And you got to see a different side to the warrior playstyles. And even with the combo deck not being able to combo, still was managed to sort of fight the fight. Just came up a little bit short. But yeah, congratulations to the Dorinthea player. It was a good win.
Old warrior beats the new warrior in this round.
Old guard is exactly. It's still with the old guard.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on and commentating this with me. It was a great pleasure to do it with you. Wanted to do this a couple months ago. Didn't quite work out, but I'm super glad we got to have you on eventually.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Do check out Hayden and Brendan's channel, Arsenal Pass. They have some cool deck techs. I think there's like a podcast format, right? As well.
Yep. So we have a weekly podcast as well as our deck techs and deck guides, which are all up on our YouTube channel. You can go and find them. And yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully see you next time.